Welcome everyone. This is a follow-up to the first part of this video where I show you basically how to start using your television. We have already installed our first set of televisions in one of our schools, and based on what has happened there, we have discovered some things that will make it more efficient for you to use and safer for you to use around your students. So here are some of the questions that some of the teachers had once they started using it. What you'll notice first of all is across the top here is what they call their watch free banner on the Vizio. At this point, sometimes a banner comes up that is not appropriate for our children. It may have some inappropriate title or pictures of some sort. If you notice up here in the corner, we have found a way to stop this from happening. There's a little box that came up and it says backdrop launching in so many seconds. And what you will see happen is your TV will change and go to a picture. This is what would show up when you are casting also. When you're not casting, this is the backdrop. And so there is a workaround to avoiding the student seeing that banner that you saw originally. However, in order to do that, it is a 1 minute delay in there. So if you turn the TV on while your students are in the room, you have to be careful for a minute. They are going to see that. And then after that minute, it will launch into this. So if you're setting up, say, in the beginning of the morning, and that will work for you, it will automatically launch to this after a minute. But what if you're using your screen, you just turned it on and you have students in the room and you want to get past this really quickly? There's a couple of things you can do. Number one, what I've discovered is on your remote control, your mute button. If you hold down your mute button for 5 seconds, as you saw, it went to a black screen for you when I held on the mute for 5 seconds. The big thing to remember is always to point your remote control down into the lower right corner, because that is where the connection is with all the TV components. If you don't do that, the 5 seconds won't happen. So now I used my mute for 5 seconds to get it to a black screen so that the kids don't see what was up there. And what you can do then is go over to your computer and tell it to cast right away to that device, and then hit your home button. And when you hit your home button, again, make sure I'm pointing down at the bottom, it will automatically put me right into my casting mode, which will prevent students from seeing what is going on. Now, sometimes it will quickly flip back to that picture that comes up when you're waiting to cast, so make sure that you are using your device then pretty quickly there. But that is one fast way to prevent students from seeing what is on the screen. So if the backdrop mode is too slow for you, if that minute is too long for you, and you forget about the mute button or can't get that to work really quickly, the other option you have is to immediately use the banner across the top of your screen, go through it, and if you notice, as I'm going through all the way across, it automatically will go to AirPlay here or cast. As soon as I hit cast, it will flip the screen to that picture mode and it's ready for casting. So there's a lot of options that you can use. You can either rely on your backdrop when you turn it on in the morning, give it a minute, it'll go into this screen. Use your mute button for 5 seconds, which will go to black, and then go ahead and cast and turn it back on with the home button. Or use that banner across the top as I just showed you and go all the way across to your casting piece, hit that, and it will automatically go into casting for you. So lots of different ways to ensure that students aren't seeing things that you don't want them to see. Now, with the casting in mind, another question that came up from teachers were those that were used to using a device where they could extend their screen onto their smartboard or whatever they were using on their walls. They can't do that anymore. You don't have an extend. The extending won't work with our TVs. But what does work is what I talked to you about earlier. When you go to cast, leave it on the default of casting with a tab. Make sure you have up on your screen before you start casting what it is you want your students to be looking at. So which tab do you want them looking at? Cast from that tab. Remember, you don't see the rest of your tabs when you're doing the tab casting. This is the only one that will show up on the screen. So the students can be working on whatever you have up here, and if you have a few minutes on your computer, you can very quickly go in and answer an email or get another tab ready for something else that you want them to do later. So you can be working on your laptop at the same time they are working on this tab. So you just have to remember they are only going to see that one tab. Also, just to let you know, another concern that came up from teachers is, what about students being able to cast? They have Chromebooks, they have the Chrome capability, shouldn't they be able to cast? We have been able to disable that casting ability for our students to ensure that we don't have them taking over your screens at any point. So please know that that has already been taken care of for you. So hopefully some of these tips will help you. And some of the settings that we have now put on. The one other thing is that our TVs at the beginning are set up for a 10-minute shutoff. Just like your screen protector, your screens have on your computer that if you walk away, it goes into sleep mode. You can do the same kind of thing here, or turning off your TV to a dark screen. We have changed that so it never does that. But if you want that to happen, you are able to do so. You just have to go into your settings. I'll show you that very quickly. So I went home. You need to go into your settings button on your remote control, the little cog. That will bring up your settings over on the side. On this left-hand side, you'll see them. And you're going to go to System, which is the one I have marked right now. And under System, if you go down, and again, these are very sensitive. I've noticed that you really have to point down towards the bottom of your screen. Go to Timers at the bottom of the list, the timers, and that is where you have a sleep timer. We have turned that off. And there's also an auto power timer, and it is defaulted to 10 minutes, and we have changed that to off for you. If you prefer that it goes off after 10 minutes or so, you can reset that, but we think that that would be a little inconvenient. If all of a sudden you stop using something and it has no activity for a while, it's going to turn off your TV, and that makes things a little more inconvenient for you. If you notice again, after so many seconds of sitting there, this is letting me know my backdrop is going to come up. It's going to take away that banner that we don't want the students to see. And so therefore that went away and the picture comes up. If you have any further questions or concerns about your new television or something that you wanted to do or not do, please contact the help desk. We will look into it for you, and we will let you know what the solution is to that. Enjoy your new displays.